my mother often says, be careful of your heroes. Be careful of your heroes. Be careful of the people that you support because you don't know what kind of lifestyle that these people are living. You don't know if these people are living godly lives or if they're just, being kind of like P Diddy. Certain things came to light with P Diddy, but they don't know if they're being like P Diddy, where there's so much that they hide from the public that eventually it comes to light, and it's like, you supported this artist, and if you have to feel this some type of way for supporting this artist, and how you supported this artist's values and things about this artist that don't really align with God or don't really align with your values or the situation of what you feel. So my mom's always had this thing about, like, who really aligns with God and who really, what artist really does align with God. I mean, we support all these artists and stuff, but she has this thing about, like, we don't know what kind of lifestyles they live. We don't know what exactly we're supporting, or what kind of part of their lifestyle we're supporting, and etc. I mean, they could be doing drugs for all we know, or have a sex addiction, or etc. But um, my mom's told me this multiple times. She's told me about Joseph Arthur. She's told me it about, I mentioned to her about P Diddy. She didn't know much about P Diddy, but I mentioned to her about P Diddy. She's mentioned it to me again. My mother has this thing about always getting stuff at a price we can afford. My mother and I are both, on disability. We're both disabled, so my mother has a thing about always getting things secondhand. Always getting some things from a secondhand store, and getting things secondhandedly from, passed down from a secondhand store like Goodwill, or like a thrift store, or like a tag sale or a fair. But um, because my mom always thinks that's better for our budget and better for our lifestyle to be able to afford than always having to pay full price at a store that, on an item, or on something that's just materialistic that might not mean much in a couple of years, or because she knows I've gotten rid of stuff in bags, or or just thing or the situations and things change with, like, the things that you buy and stuff, and you spend all this money on all these items and material things by these artists, and your situations with these artists and things change, and then you just waste all this money. So my mom says this thing about not buying so much, telling me to not, buy stuff at a price I can afford, and not try to always, support all these artists, because you don't know what kind of lifestyle they're living, and what they're trying to be up to, and what they're really about. My mom's mentioned to me about Joseph Arthur, although she always asks about Joe. She's always asking me, like, hey, Carl, I don't really have social media. Could you tell me about, Joe? How is Joe doing? And how, and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, mom, I'll tell you how Joe's doing. And I mean, I only know from, like, social media, what he posts on social media. I mean, I don't talk to Joseph anymore, like face to face. I mean, I kind of lost those opportunities because of, some situations with some people that wanted to turn Joseph Arthur into a rival. Which I just kind of edited the post on that about, my rivalry, I don't say my rivalry, but because it's not really a rivalry, but some people want to make it a rival situation. So, um, because they want to make it a rival situation. I mean, obviously, as people were rivals, I don't treat my rivals with any much of respect. I don't treat my rivals with respect. I don't treat them with the most positivity, and I usually treat my rivals and shit like dirt, because they usually treat me like dirt and shit. So I don't really. I mean, I do have a bunch of rivals. I'm not gonna lie about it. But if I had rivals in artistic stuff, which I now do, I now have tons of rivals in artistically. I mean, I'm hoping Joseph Arthur doesn't turn into one of them. But, since some people want to say Joseph Arthur should already be a rival and stuff like that, which I'm trying to not give into the negativity, which I'm still trying to be, supportive of Joseph, because I don't feel like he should have been put in such a negative light to begin with. But, some people say you don't know the lifestyle he's living, you don't know what really happened, you don't know this and that. So, some people are saying, yeah, he is a rival to you, Carl, and it's like, if he was a rival to me, then he would deserve everything that he has already been given, when it came to me, and then some. So, I mean, I kind of wrote that. I kind of wrote that on about a post that, if we're rivals, I don't treat my rivals with very much respect. So, that's one thing I'm trying not to look at Joseph in a negative light, because I don't think he really deserved it. But I think he had good intentions. I think, unless I don't know the situation, and I guess it was a situation or two I don't know about, which is true. I might not, but um, because I don't know the lifestyle. I don't know the lifestyle certain people are living. I mean, I could have been a part of certain people's lifestyles and etc. But I think those situations have changed and stuff like that. Everybody wants to go up the ladder in the Illuminati and with their artist career, especially here in Connecticut and etc. That certain people are getting left behind, or certain people have to be fall to the wayside if you don't feel like you could fit, or if they feel like you're just being a dead weight and stuff. I don't want to say I'm not just intentionally trying to be a dead weight or etc. I mean, I had an artist career of my own too, and everybody wanted something for their own artist career, including myself, and we're all trying to climb up the ladder like crabs in a barrel, trying to get to the top. And really, we're all, some people are just dragging each other down, and it's just coming to climax. But regardless of the factor, you don't know what kind of lifestyle certain people live, and my mom's always had this thing about, like, not spending too much money on materialistic items and all these artists and stuff, because you really don't know what kind of lifestyle they're living, and if they're artistically, and if they're being if they're living the life close to God and stuff like that. um Sorry, I'm very itchy. My scalp is very itchy. I think it's dry right now, um but yeah, you don't know if they're closer to God, and stuff like that. So I'm at that point now. It's just like, and it's true. I mean, I don't fully know what happened with Joseph. I can't really fully say, but and that's the thing. Joseph could have been, doing things on the side there that could have totally made him look out to be like a crap head or a piece of shit. Like, many people are calling him to me. They've already said, "Oh yeah, he's a crap head. He's a piece of shit. He's this and that." So, um, I try to be respectful to the guy. I try to look up to the guy, but you really don't know I really don't fully know what happened on his end, or on certain situations ends, that of what truly happened, or what his true intentions were, and etc. When it came to certain things. And I know that there was a third party woman involved, and that third party woman had the worst intentions for me, and had the worst situations and things involved in that situation. But it should be water under the bridge, and it kind of is water under the bridge. But I know some people, when they see me try to excel and try to climb up a ladder as an artist, there seems to be an issue, because people think I don't have the lifestyle for being an artist. I don't have what it takes to be an artist, or really to call myself an artist or an artistic person, when it comes to being able to excel and being able to do the things I would want to do. So, I mean, obviously, I'm still disabled. I'm still struggling on my disability and etc. But yet, I'm trying to be an artist. I'm trying to show my work. I'm trying to write and be a published author and stuff like that. So, um, but yeah, people seem to have issues, and people seem to, especially with my income, which my income really is nobody's fucking business. But, basically at the point being is that my mother has a huge thing, because of her income, and how she basically had me, had me raised and stuff. She has a huge thing about, be getting things at a price you can afford and stuff, and trying to, trying to get things in that, because you just don't know what kind of lifestyle and stuff people live, and pretty much sound like a broken record at this point. But basically, my wish list is pretty small. I got a wish list. It's pretty small now, because I've given stuff away, because I've kind of supported artists and stuff, and I didn't like some of their lifestyle. I didn't like some of their wokeism, and their leftist agenda lifestyle stuff, that I kind of gave a lot of those books away. I mean, I think I kept Amanda Gorman. I kept a handful of poetry books that were kind of still kind of leftist, but most of my leftist books were given away, and were donated to Goodwill, and they were donated. I mean, even the stuff that was signed, and even the stuff that was, basically written out to be, of a sincere message to me, they were all, they were all donated to Goodwill. They were just donated, and just like, enough's enough. Um, so my mom's like, see, you shouldn't have spent all your money on that. You shouldn't have you shouldn't put your time and your effort into trying to get those books by those people, and etc. And honestly, on my wish list, there's not too many books by people. I'm going to be honest. There's not too many books by people on my wish lists that are published authors and stuff in my poetry circle. There's probably like one or two or like three people at least that are like published authors that are on my wish list. But for the most part, I'm not really, I don't really plan to buy many books from many people. I mean, I'm sorry to tell this to people. I don't want to like have to lose people as like, friends and supporters of stuff online, but I don't really plan on investing too much more into too many books right now. I mean, I'll share posts, I'll share what those artists are up to. I'll share their events and things and say, hey, this is an event by a friend, or this is an event by somebody who's doing stuff. But I just to put money and effort and time into supporting people. There's been a huge thing where I'm on disability. I'm on disability, and I can't necessarily do that again or continue doing that so much to where I put so much more of my free spending and stuff of my disability into the arts and etc. supporting people, and really I don't have a lot of it to give back from myself and a lot of it to give to me. So my mom has this huge thing about the lifestyles and stuff, and that's also a big factor. What's playing in my mind at this point in time too is that she's right. We don't. P Diddy. People thought P Diddy was one way. Next thing you know, P Diddy's like an absolute freak or absolute this or that, because he's obviously doing things that are being exposed to light. I mean, I never supported P Diddy. I don't think I've had any of P Diddy's music, and if I did, I got rid of it. But um, I don't think I've ever really supported P Diddy, but for those who have, I'm sure I'm sure some people might not want to support him again, or feel indifferently about supporting him, and that's kind of what I mean. Is like you don't know what kind of lifestyle and stuff people are dealing with when it comes to like the arts. So, um, but yeah, that's the thing I wanted to address too. Is that I mean, I know Joseph's not perfect. I know Joseph's not perfect. I know there's things that he's going to do that's going to disappoint and going to just be kind of a shit face thing to do and stuff like that when it comes to Joe. But um, I know. I mean, I know he means well and stuff like that. My mom still talks about Joe, and she still talks about the fact that she gave him one of the hats she's made. She's gave him a scarf that she's made, and she's done stuff. She's done stuff, to really be nice to Joe, and and really kind of be nice to Joe. And she's always remembered Joe because she knows that she was talking to somebody who was really influential in the arts and stuff when it came to like music and art and poetry. But when we got this guy basically talked to Joseph face to face and stuff like that. But it's been years since my mom and I could really travel. My mom doesn't really drive and stuff now, so my mom doesn't get to travel and drive, and I haven't been able to go to really much of a show and stuff, because of that, or really go to take a trip to New York to see a show. That was all my stepfather who passed away. If it wasn't for my stepfather, we wouldn't have been taking so many trips, to like, all the trips that we used to take. So now me and my mom don't take many trips together. We don't really do too many things. So my mom and I are not really, together on stuff. But um I mean, it's up to me to kind of take a trip or stuff like that, and I'm pretty much on my own. I don't really have a companion. I don't really have a partner. I mean, I've been single. I've been single. I've been single. I mean, despite me trying to talk to some women, and despite me having a circle of women I might be interested in and stuff like that, I'm still fucking single. I mean, I don't have I don't have a single I don't have a single girlfriend or a single interest back basically about what I put out there to show people. I'm single, so I'm still gonna live my life as I'm single and as I'm going about things in my own situation. So um but I'm single. So um but yeah, I don't know. I mean, we don't know what kind of lifestyle people live. I mean, I was almost prone to Joe's lifestyle. I was almost prone to Joe. Joe as an artist and being his friend, but that kind of got disrupted by a third party situation, and that's the third party situation that's kind of starting this whole situation about me having a personality disorder and stuff like that, because obviously I wanted to take after some of my heroes, and I do take after some of my heroes, and I'm trying, and I have, there's similarities in artistic stuff and the way I go about things to my heroes. That's because my heroes are a reflection of what I would like to try to portray a little bit of being an artist, but I want to do so originally and of my own, that I still have something that's going to be solid and of my own. That's not, it may reflect my heroes, but it's still of my own thing. And I know Joseph's going on his YouTube channel too, and he said things like, he admires originality in work. He admires the originality when people work, when people do original work and stuff, because obviously I don't think people really like the fact that I kind of do stuff in kind of like the Joseph Arthur style. I think some people, or some of the critical, the critically acclaimed people are kind of, kind of mad about that, oh, he's kind of doing things in the Joseph Arthur style, when people praise Joseph. I mean, people, Joseph, was the first one to really have a style similar to what I was, or similar, basically, kind of like, what I've been trying to portray in mind. That, he was the first one to kind of portray that style, and he was always known as the first original person to have that type of artistic style and stuff when it came to his artwork and stuff. So, I mean, I've kind of wanted to take that style and try to do something unique and, original with it. But he's always kind of like told me through his Facebook videos or YouTube videos, that he always admires the originality in the work. That, he doesn't want, he almost doesn't want people to almost copy after that style. He admires the originality and the imperfections of being original more compared to trying to take after your heroes and trying to do something that's already been done. But, you know, but basically, that's just a situation with that. I mean, but people, we don't know what kind of lifestyle these people are living. I almost was a part of this lifestyle. I was almost a part of this circle. Not P Diddy circle. I don't know anything about P Diddy, but um, I know I know Joseph knows Greg Dooley, and I never got a chance to meet Greg Dooley or got to socialize with Greg Dooley. But Greg Dooley has also done some shows with Usher, and I know Usher is kind of connected. Some people want to connect Usher to the whole P Diddy thing, but I know Usher and the Afghan Wigs did a show together at the Bowery Ballroom in New York. So, I mean, I was going to post about that recently, and I actually didn't do that, but I'm going to. I'm going to post some of those videos later. But yeah, Usher and Greg Dooley, of the Afghan Wigs, basically did a show. Um, but I have no ties to the P Diddy drama or nothing like that. I've never had ties to the P Diddy drama, but I do know. I mean, I did know of Joseph, or I was almost in Joseph's circle. So I almost had connections to people that knew Joseph. That would have been like Mark Lanigan and Greg Dooley and some of these people that I post about. Those people would have been people that I could have maybe have met, or maybe met down the line, and etc. Including REM. I never really got to meet REM, and REM was one of the people that kind of actually introduced me to Joseph through their music and stuff, and through some of what they had, put out there about like the artists that they would listen to that were influential. That REM was the one who introduced me to Joseph. It wasn't like I knew about Joseph before I knew about REM. I mean, REM was the one who introduced me to Joseph. So I do owe REM some credit for that. But um, do I always agree with Michael Stipe? No, I don't always agree with Michael Stipe, nor do I always agree with the lifestyle he has to live, especially as a transgender gay person and somebody who kind of supports political things and some leftist agendas and things towards, some leftist agenda things that I no longer support. But, So I mean, obviously, when I supported REM, I'm kind of supporting Michael Stipe's lifestyle, and it's like I don't really feel the same about Michael Stipe, and and the way I looked up to him, especially supporting his lifestyle as I once did. And some people think it should be almost the same way for me and Joseph, that I shouldn't look at Joseph the way I once did. And in some cases, I don't look at Joseph the way I once did. We're all getting older. We all have these things that go about us that I don't look at people the way I once did, and I'm kind of falling out of things. Keep in mind that when I was listening to REM, when I was listening to Joseph Arthur, it's been I'm now 35, going on 36, and I still kind of listen to REM and Joseph Arthur. But I originally got into REM and Joseph Arthur when I was in high school. I was like 16 years old. I was 16 years old when I originally started listening to some of these artists and stuff, and that were very influential on me in the high school days and stuff like that. I was 16. I'm now 30. I'm now going on 36 years old. So it's been years. It's been years, and um, things change. I mean, I used to idolize Michael Stipe a little bit. Now I don't really idolize him as much, or feel the need to idolize him, because I feel differently about what he stands for, and etc. So I mean, I think REM makes great music. I mean, they're political in a way, but I mean, I just don't think they make great music, and they can be really admired as an artist. But um, I mean, how do you separate the political from the art? It's like I asked somebody when I was supporting the left. I asked somebody when I was supporting the left, how do you separate the racism from the music, or etc. Because I was referring to Leonard Skinner. Leonard Skinner, people say Leonard Skinner supports the Confederate flag at their shows, or had the Confederate flag at their shows, and stuff like that. They're an old Southern band, and they had to go, people with the Confederate flag, at the shows, and etc. Posting it, waving their flag. And I asked somebody at one point in time when I was supporting the left, like, as somebody who likes the music of Leonard Skinner, how do you kind of separate that? How do you kind of separate that from the artists? So it's like one of those things. It's kind of like the same thing with like Michael Stipe now. Is like, now that I've kind of gone more towards the right, it's like, how do I separate some of this from Michael Stipe's work and stuff, and still kind of really appreciate Michael Stipe? So I mean, because Michael Stipe is really a good lyricist. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, if as a writer, I would even credit myself as Michael Stipe being a good an influential writer as to some of the stuff I've written. But um, you know, but yeah. So basically, I just wanted to get that off my chest. You don't know what kind of hero lifestyle people are living and stuff, and I I really don't know what to say, really, other than that. Is that that's kind of what's affecting my mom and my situation now. Is that my mother seems to think I maybe shouldn't put so much money into the arts anymore, because I don't know what kind of lifestyle all these artists are living. All these people on my Facebook are living. And I mean, I would like to support people. There's people that do interracial books that I wanted to support, about interracial romances. I had followed a lot of I had followed a lot of their artistic pages on my Facebook, but or not my Facebook, on my Amazon account. I had followed a lot of their artistic pages, so I know that the people that do the interracial books are releasing books out into the world. But I haven't really done too much. I mean, obviously I can look back at all the books I purchased too. I can look back at all the books I purchased from Amazon and stuff, and a lot of them were the leftist books. A lot of them were very much about black liberation and stuff like that. And I'm not a black person. Some people thought it was culturally inappropriate for me to even support the left, because they were trying to get me into support the black culture. And I was talking, some people in the left were yelling at me like, you're supporting black culture, but you're doing it wrong, and it's culturally inappropriate, or this and that. And it's just like, well, I'm trying to support black culture. You can either help me out or not help me out. And nobody wants to help anybody out, because obviously white people either got to know what they want to do to enslave you. White people got to know what black people got to do that want to enslave them, or 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 if you can't be enslaved as a white person, you don't really fit the mold in the democratic plantation. So, so whatever, um, but I'm not going to be enslaved, in their white narrative about white people and etc. for the democratic plantation. But you know, anyways, I just wanted to basically speak my mind and get my opinions across here. But that's something I wanted to say. I mean that's a big thing right now too to me is that I don't know much about people's lifestyle. I mean, there's some political books I wanna. There's some political books I want. I mean, I don't really know much about the political people's lifestyle, about the politicians and stuff, or what kind of lifestyle they actually live. I just know them as a politician and kind of how I kind of support their views as a politician and how they view things about anti wokeism and stuff like that, and how wokeism is kind of destroying the country. But there's certain things about certain people and things I just do or do not support at this time, and there's just things I'm going through that kind of play a big thing about, like, you don't know what people support and what people do, and I mean, some people can say the same about me. Some people don't know if it's for drugs. Some people don't know if it's for weed. Some people don't know if it's for, what kind of support people support. So buy my work and where the money goes and etc. Some people could say the same thing for me. Like what do you do with the money that what did you do with the money that we. In some cases, I just squandered it away on a meal and just some stuff for myself, like poetry and stuff, and I ended up just giving away the poetry and stuff at that point. So it's just like, some of it was a waste. But um, at this point, I mean, I need to just not do so much materialistically. And if I support if I support somebody, it's gonna be more like a restaurant and stuff. Something that will give back to me, where I can just get my stomach full or my belly full, and just have a nice meal, and then be able to just go and go on my way. I can't do too much when it comes to like buying materialistic anymore, because it's become such a problem to my family and myself, and just everything that's been going on, that materialistically I don't know if I can really support people materialistically. Although I do support people, because a way to support people, you can, by sharing somebody's post on Facebook and by trying to get the word out there, to help people get the word out there by their post and what people post and etc. That's one way of trying to help people promote their work and stuff. So it's not like I don't support people and try to support other artists. I just can't always do the physical buying of the book, or the physical buying of a material item, because I just don't have it in me, or just don't have the time and resources anymore to do it. So, um, but yeah, I just wanted to get that off my chest. I'm gonna get offline. I want to make another cup of coffee. Peace.